What's up, guys? Nate Petrosky from NarroWayHomestead. As you guys all know, Will's been here hanging out for a few days. He came in on Sunday and it's now Wednesday, at least when I'm recording this. This is just basically giving an update on Will Survives. I gave him some interesting projects to do to start out with. Everybody already knows I have another homestead coming. That's not closed on yet, so I can't put him over there doing stuff, but I had him do just a couple things here. First thing I had him do was I had like a storage area of plastic and totes and just basically plastic stuff. I sort stuff in piles by material out here. And over the course of the last 4 years, a bunch of it has just kind of made its way down the hillside with the wind. So he crawled down and up like repeatedly in the humidity, which he's not used to. I just kind of wanted, with that, I just wanted to like just see what the whole work ethic thing was like. I mean, obviously, like you see somebody online, you assume one thing or the other. But he went down and he cleared it all up. I'm sure there's a couple things underneath the undergrowth, but like, yeah, it's springtime. Stuff's growing like crazy. But he did a really cool job. It's basically like a really crappy project. And most of the time, if I'd set somebody at something like that, they'd be at it for like 5 minutes and be like, you know, I just want to do something else. And I didn't say like, you've got to do this. Like he totally had the option to tell me, hey, I don't want to do this, and that'd have been cool, whatever. But he jumped into it and hit it, so that was really cool. Just to see, like, you know, I'm basically just kind of feeling him out with like the different things I'm setting him at. 2 other projects I put him on. My driveway is getting like some potholes and stuff in it. So down at the creek I have rocks, and that's kind of like more fun. I don't want to like literally like just dishearten a guy with like horrible stuff, but like you get to like drive the ATV and the cart back and forth all the time. So down to the creek, gathering up rocks, throwing them in the cart. Totally switched over to buckets, which was super cool. Like I didn't give like instructions like, okay, like you have to do this, you have to do it this way. Like I just said, here's the project, and I'm like pretty much hands off. Like I literally went and checked on him like one time. And that was cool. He started filling it up, you know, just kind of like wanted to make sure he was doing what I wanted him to do. He was doing fine. And then third day of working, I've got those ATV trails all along here, and I already went through and like clipped a bunch of stuff before spring came. But as spring came, like all these leaves and like branches and everything just started growing more. The leaves and branches hung down real far. He had that plus the driveway. I'm actually not totally sure how far along he is on any of that. I'm gonna go check it out eventually. But it's been a busy day. Anyway, he basically had 2 projects going at once, and he figured out to prioritize the clearing the trails before he finishes like filling the driveway. That way it's just like way more convenient to go through. And I didn't give him any instructions on how to clear the trails or not. He did totally like swing up on a branch and cut another branch with a chainsaw. I'm definitely gonna have to tell him like, yeah, you did sign the liability waiver, but I see that I'm gonna have to be like, yeah. I mean, people are gonna do what they're gonna do, but at the same breath, like if he like cuts himself with a chainsaw and like bleeds out on the trail, he's probably like, oh, it's worth the risk. You know, he's not going to make a mistake. Well, if he does make a mistake, what does that mean for me? Like, liability waivers are cool and all, but, you know, it could, like, totally, like, first of all, just somebody, like, not living on my property would totally be like, whoa, that's like a big deal. That would totally affect me for the rest of my life. So, anyway, he's probably going to watch this video because it's literally going to be titled something like, you know, update on Will or something like that. So I'm sure he won't watch all my videos because they're long and there's a bunch of them. But anyway, that's the whole reason why I, you know, just dude, like really be careful. And like, yeah, I think he's not like totally careless. Like I don't want to put him off as like being a totally careless guy. I can tell by the way he did it. Like he wasn't just like running the chainsaw and then just hit the branch with the running chainsaw. That would have been like, whoa, dude. Like he's not dumb. But he's got lots of years left in his life, and I'd like to see him do just really well with that. So cleared that, and then he probably went back to, it's a whole lot easier to get the rocks up. I mean, at least a little bit anyway. But trying to mix in some fun stuff. One of the big reasons I actually wanted him to fill the rocks on the driveway, first of all, it helps me, obviously. Everybody loves the idea of a half-mile driveway. It's so cool. Most people have zero idea the crazy maintenance that goes into a half-mile driveway. Like, and he was just filling some potholes. I showed him the entire ditch along the half-mile driveway and say any sticks and stuff get in it, they're going to plug the culverts. Like, all that stuff needs to be dragged up. And I showed him, you know, where I've dragged up stuff, and he sees the woods above it. Like, so even though like some of these jobs aren't seeming super cool, and I've got plenty of super cool jobs for him, I've got a really exciting one I'm excited about. But I really want him to like learn something through all of them. Like, seems like he's got a work ethic. He's got to be self-driven, because I'm just saying, yo, do this, and, you know, providing really minimal instruction. Yeah, you gotta be careful on an ATV, and you gotta be careful with the chainsaw. But yeah, he's doing a really good job. There is something somehow, and I wasn't gonna say nothing. Like, I don't put other people's business out on social media, but he put it out himself. So he totally drove across the country here with no plates on his truck, and he's got like a cracked windshield on his van or something. No insurance on the van either. And somehow I made it across the country perfectly fine. And sometimes you can teach people like stuff, and like on the other hand, like, you know, he's already been on federal property building stuff, doing stuff he shouldn't. He kind of got in trouble for that. Had really minor consequences for him, which is cool. I'm glad they didn't like throw the book at him, because yeah, you really shouldn't just throw the book at people unless they're just really malicious. That's just my opinion. But since I'm not in law enforcement, I don't, doesn't matter what my opinion is. But yeah, and then so in the local town, his cameraman got pulled over, no insurance, they towed the vehicle, there was like this whole thing, and he didn't tell me a thing about it. I just saw him leave with his truck like a little bit later, and I was like, well, that's weird. They both like left. I forget. I think I texted him to just find out how's it going or whatever, and yeah, then he told me all that, and then apparently he had some difficulty with the law enforcement, which again, like, he's there with like no plates on his truck when he goes to like straighten that issue out with the no insurance on the other vehicle, and like, it's just, those are probably lessons he has to learn on his own. I probably can't teach him anything about that. Yeah, I just hope like he doesn't do anything that they really like just totally nail him on, because that would not be cool. I don't totally know what to say. Like, he's just young. Like, when I was 21, like, yeah, you know, paperwork didn't totally seem all that important. Well, it is important, and not just like for other people, but yourself too, because you got inconvenienced by all that stuff. I'm sure it cost revenue. You know, it's going to cost money to deal with all that, and he's not real happy with the law enforcement. Law enforcement's probably not real happy with him. I can't really comment on the interactions he had with law enforcement at all, because I wasn't there. I don't know anything about it. But yeah, he's not happy with him. He was more than happy to tell the world that he's not happy with them. And I think probably he went a little too far with the whole like being a little bit personal about him. I've had run-ins with law enforcement, and it was always like, it's always traffic stuff. Like, you know, they said I didn't stop at a stop sign. They said I was speeding, and like, I don't know, like sometimes like whenever I would speed, like I wouldn't get in trouble. And like, then I'd be going like 3 over, and they would like ticket me for more, and then I'd go to court and fight it. And they always say to fight a speeding ticket in court. Well, I never won anything doing that. I just got to pay court fees on top of the speeding ticket. Maybe if I'd hired a lawyer, and like, basically, you got to get along with law enforcement. Sometimes law enforcement are jerks. I'm pretty sure even other law enforcement individuals will completely agree with that. Especially if you're like, I know I get treated a lot differently now than I did when I was in my younger 20s, for sure. it's a lot better now. But yeah, it's kind of like when you're at school, and I never went to school, I was homeschooled, but like literally if there's a bully at school wanting to take your lunch money, especially if there's like a bunch of them, like you can stand up for yourself to a point, and you can appeal to higher authorities eventually, but pretending for a moment there is no higher authority. There's no teachers to say, hey, yo, like I got issues. Like if there's like 5 of them surrounding you demanding your lunch money, giving up your lunch money isn't the worst idea ever, particularly if you can deal with the issues later and appeal it. Same with law enforcement. If you feel like you're mistreated, there's an appeals process, there's courts, like literally when you're interacting with the cop, like that's one thing, there's like court and like there's all this other stuff. The important thing during those interactions is to just comply with them, even if they, in my opinion, violate your rights. It depends on to what extent they would go, but you can always fight that stuff in court. So you got to fight the battles at the right time, in the right place. And one thing that definitely doesn't help is if you don't have auto insurance, like they're going to treat you like somebody who broke the law, probably because you broke the law. So some of that's just like stuff that happens, and yeah, they might not be nice about it, but cops don't have to be nice. It's just awesome when they are, I guess. And I wish they would be, but again, they're bigger and badder than I am, so I don't fight with them, and they don't want to take all my lunch money. Like they don't want to take everything you've got at the moment. They fine you an X amount, and like, yeah, sometimes you just pay it, move on, comply with them. That's just something I think comes with age and maturity, and not everybody ever learns that either. Some people will just be crazy about it. That's just my position on it. I'm really wanting to teach Will and like essentially be a mentor in a lot of things. There's a bunch of stuff I'm gonna say, do, that he's just not gonna listen to, and like it's just the way it is, and that's like okay. Like I don't want to, like, it'd be terrible if he listened to everything I said, because I'm not right about everything. That would be horrible. He needs to take what I have as like something to learn, and then just consider whether or not it's something that he should learn, or he should do things that way or not. And he's got to forge his own path, and it'd be terrible if he just did everything the way I did and went out in life. Like, I think that's the problem with most people that try to teach other people, is like they have an ideal vision of what a person should look like and how they should behave, and down to every micro interaction they have. And that's just, no. If you try to teach like that, you'll never be successful, and you'll be frustrated, and you'll turn into the grouchy old man that, like, young kids don't listen to me anymore. Well, maybe like just throw the info out there, and if they take it, cool. And a bunch of the stuff that they don't take, you'll probably be right on some things. They'll learn it the hard way. Don't go to them and say, I told you so. Like, that's just dumb. And you'll find out sometimes when they don't listen to you and do something, things work out fine, and maybe it works out super good for them. You're gonna be wrong sometimes when you try to tell folks. You just give your opinion. Don't be overbearing. But I'm pretty sure I'm totally right on this whole law enforcement thing. Getting along with law enforcement is the way to be, even if you're mistreated by them. I was pretty sure one day I was gonna get arrested by having a brake line go out on my truck and park on the side of the road, and they're like, 15 minutes, you got to get out of here, we're getting this towed, and where's your tow truck? And all I wanted to do was put a vice grips on the brake line and drive it over to the shop. Turned into this whole deal, and then there's brake fluid on the road, and they're like, something about contaminating like the area and everything, and it's like, it's not that much brake fluid, guys, and like it's on a pavement, like none of it's running off into the woods, like it was crazy. Eventually another officer came, and he just like dumped cat litter on it, and it was like, it's gonna be fine. So it worked out good. It was all fine. But yeah, there's just, so, like I'm trying to say, I've been super frustrated with law enforcement, and they've been not cool to me sometimes, but like I just try to like be smooth about it, and if there's issues, like I'll deal with it in court. In the meantime, like keeping insurance on my vehicles, keeping plates on my vehicles, like just keeping everything legit, especially because I'm on social media. Like any little misstep, someone's going to catch it and see it. So like, just do everything you can to be above board and legit. And if someone comes against you with something, sometimes, you know, you might mess up, but thankfully you don't have like a whole bunch of things that are like totally illegal and you're not just like in huge trouble. And most of the time, everything will be cool and smooth sailing. It's just keeping up with your paperwork, dealing with law enforcement is something that you just have to deal with in life. And if you don't like it, well, I mean, I guess like, I don't know, go to Haiti or some other country where you can just like bribe like everybody, but then like rival gangs or like, yeah, random gangs and stuff could just come and like take all your stuff, and then maybe the cops wouldn't worry about it at all, and then you would wish that like there were cops to give you speeding tickets and pull you over for busted windshields because like those guys are just like bashing your entire house and lighting it on fire and like doing horrible stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of some of my random thoughts on how it's been going so far. It's been going really good. Kid's smart. I don't like to call him a kid, but everybody online calls him a kid. Like, he is young enough to be my kid. It's not respectful. I really should call him like the young man. He's smart. He's willing to work hard. There's a bunch of stuff I think he could learn an easy way. He's going to learn some stuff the hard way. If he learns just a couple things an easy way, even just learning that like a half-mile driveway is crazy, and like maybe like it'd be really super cool if it was closer maybe. But then again, maybe he's like, oh, a half-mile drive is cool. I'd rather work on that real hard and be back in further. I don't know what he'll take from it. I hope he takes something from it, that's all. Just some experience. But yeah, it's been going good. I think it's going to go really well. I know there's a lot of criticism and people thinking it's not going to go well and like it's going to cause some aggravation and difficulty on my part, and it probably will. I'm aware of what I'm signing up for. Like there are going to be some things, and he's going to do some cool stuff. Like he really wants to make sure that like it's a totally positive experience for me and everything's like awesome. He really wants to leave and have me say that like Will did all this stuff for me and it's really cool. And I really want him to leave and be like, I learned so much, and they kind of paid me okay, and find out that like West Virginia pay is terrible, but like I hope he leaves and feels like different things he learned throughout the whole process was totally worth it. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to go good. It's going good so far. Lots more stuff to come. But yeah, anyway, if you like this video, hit the subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep you guys updated, and I'm sure Will as well.